This is a HeadGum podcast.
Hey, before we start this episode, this is your last reminder that we are going to be at South by Southwest for a part of HeadGum Live in Austin, Texas, Friday, March 11th, starting at 3 p.m. We're paired with some other amazing podcasts, including High and Mighty with John Gabris and the She Didn't Text Me Back podcast. Tickets are on sale now. You can go to blackmenpodcast.squarespace.com, click on events. We have the link up there. I have it on my own personal website, johnbraylock.com, in the events, the shows page. But yeah, buy those tickets now. They're $20. If you're going to be in Austin, you have to come see us. Otherwise, you're racist. Nah, I'm just kidding. But please, come on. We love you guys. So yes, come to South by Southwest, Friday, March 11th. We'll see you there. So, wait, did you have the article?
Oh, yeah. Technically, it's not even an article. It's like...
So no, it's a Twitter. It's a Twitter thing.
Yeah. Someone tweeted to Kevin Hart and Marlon Wayans that, you know...
Just a random fan,
It was
right?
a random fan when they're going to stop making stereotypical, like, black films.
Yeah, and it was asking, like, when are they going to stop?
Yeah.
Like, when are they going to... Like, are they forced to do it? Like, what... You know...
Well, let me read you the actual tweet. When are black celebs like Kevin Hart and Marlon Wayans going to stop doing stereotypical movies? And this is the thing. I think the tough part of this whole thing is that you look at Kevin Hart, you look at Marlon, right?
Uh-huh.
Yep,
Like,
looking at
we
him.
don't have that many, like, big, famous black comedians making movies, right? So I guess you could see this in a certain way. But my defense of them is no one comes at, like, you know, Will Ferrell for playing, like, you know, honestly, an imbecile half the time, or like a Jack Black. It's like, no, there's variety.
But
you know?
but those aren't stereotypical white movies.
But what is a stereotypical white movie?
But yeah,
though?
like, I think that it's hard because, like, I feel like people look at those movies and they start to feel like, you know, like, this is the way that I'm being represented, which it's hard because it's like they're making movies because they want to entertain, they want to make people laugh. They're not going, you know, how does this make my race look?
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
And
yeah,
like,
I agree.
exactly.
I agree.
And I don't think that they should have to ask.
I don't think they're doing anything wrong. I think the thing is that we want, and maybe what she means is that, hey, we need more variety. So, like, yeah, I think we can have these Kevin Hart and Marlon Wayans playful movies, but then you also can have, like, you know, the action movies starring black people. I feel like we just need variety. Like, I don't think we should just crap on them.
I also
Well,
go ahead.
Well, first of all, I just wanted. Sorry, I was taking a moment to try to pull up the response is why this isn't even a thing, right? Because Kevin Hart actually directly responded to this.
Oh,
so I feel like we need to.
I have it up if you want.
All right.
So Kevin Hart responded, from the movie business, black movies I make for everyone. I'm actually overseas promoting my movie on an international level. I'm busting my ass so other actors of color can eventually get the title black movie category removed from the projects that we do. So he asks her, I want you to realize that people with your mindset and level of thinking are the reason why our movies are getting categorized. In the future, I don't want to hear you complaining about any other problems that black actors are having because you are part of the problem.
And then Marlon Wayans also tweeted, when you stop being prejudiced, go see it, then ask the question.
See, I don't think she's being prejudiced, though.
See, but this is my thing. It's like, I also don't think that... Is she part of the problem? Maybe. I don't know. We talked a little bit about it with our Best Man holiday episode. Like, we had this idea of, like, what a black... Oh, God. Okay. I think it's... Oh, no. Okay, we're good. Sorry. Our mics keep... I think, like, we have this idea of, like, what a black movie is because we see an all-black cast and we're like, that's this quote-unquote black film, or this film is targeted towards black people.
Right.
I think Kevin Hart is right. He doesn't, for the most part, try to make movies that are targeted to a black audience. I think some of his earlier movies were.
Yeah, but
So
not
plain.
since we've known him,
But
though.
but not right. Not these, like, so Ride Along 2 to me is not like, and that's probably what she was saying. It was like Ride Along 2 and like 50 Shades of Black. I'm like, I don't think it's fair to categorize those as black movies. Like, would she consider Scary Movie a black movie? Because 50 Shades of Black is exactly in the same vein.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
agree.
But that being said, I think stereotypical black movies do exist, right? We talk about Tyler Perry all the time.
I mean, yeah, but also it's like, we were just asked the question earlier, like, what's a stereotypically white movie? But like, what is considered universal, right, is what has been accepted in the public consciousness as universality. But I think that, like, anytime I see a bunch of white stoners with beer and being like,
you mean like the movie with like kind of the fatty, like grown child man?
Yeah, I mean, like,
all of a sudden
like,
the super hot woman who's attracted to him for some apparent reason.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that's considered universal and not stereotypically white. And then black people can do movies that just have to do with their experience or the way that they behave, and then that's considered stereotypically black because we see a bunch of black people.
We just need more movies.
We just need more movies.
Yeah, I mean, it is true what Jerah was saying, what you were saying in the beginning, like the variety. It's like the lack of films, this is why we do the podcast, right? The lack of the leading black roles means that when people see a certain type of film over and over and over again, and to be honest, I think the industry does label. The only thing I disagree with Kevin is like, she's not the person who's labeling black movies. Like, people, the industry did that, so it's like not fair.
No, but he's saying she's keeping it going. She looks at it and she gets frustrated by it and wants it to stop, and so like, it's hard because he's like, she's a part of the problem, but it's that mindset that's a part of the problem.
Right.
Well, I have been there so many times where it's like a movie, I'll see a commercial for a movie or a trailer for a movie, and I'll be upset because it's like, that's not the kind of movie that I personally want to go see or want to do. And then because the industry labels it as black movies, then I start labeling it as a black movie, and then I start being like, fuck that, I don't want to see, and it's
right.
like,
think about the podcast in itself. We started off kind of making fun of black films, FUBU films, if you will, but as we started progressing, I feel like after The Best Man, we haven't said it since, like in a negative way, because the thing is, I agree, Bray, that she isn't solely the problem, but I think that mindset is a part. Because, for instance, we didn't want to support The Best Man Holiday because, at least I speak for myself, because I was like, oh, this is another black film, they're doing whatever. But when we watched it, like, no, this is a good film about people,
Right.
And it's like, if we can stop, even as people of color, can stop saying, oh, this is just a black film, this is just a white film. Maybe we just give it a chance and just say, hey, this is just a film for people who look like me. Some are going to be good, some are going to be bad. Let's just rock out with it for a second.
Because like, I think that it's...
So y'all are bored with Tyler Perry then?
Oh, no, I would never support Tyler Perry.
See, but when I was in college, and I was first introduced to Tyler Perry, I was 1,000% on board with his plays, 1,000% on board, and I was excited about his movies. That's how I felt. And then the more I started getting into entertainment, and the more I started hearing whispers in the wind about like, oh, he's perpetuating stereotyping, blah, blah, and all this stuff, then I was like, oh, I guess I can see that. But I respect somebody who lived in his car and then built an empire.
Yeah, good for him.
You know what I mean? Like, it's like, and it's hard because I think maybe we have said this on the podcast, but that people were openly saying the reason we don't want black people to be a part of the Oscar nominating committee because they're going to say we want Tyler Perry we want the Tyler Perry movies to be nominated for the Oscars, and it's just like,
right, which is so offensive.
It's the most offensive thing I think I've ever heard. It's like, no, Tyler Perry can make the movies that he wants to make. If we had more variety, right, then we wouldn't be looking at Tyler Perry as like this person who is only perpetuating a stereotype. If we, I don't know,
we gotta get out of the cold open.
Yeah,
we're gonna talk more about this in the episode. Let's just play that music, Nick.
Jonathan Braylock, James III, Jerah Milligan.
What more can I say? You know what it is. Black men can jump.
In Hollywood. Black actors, man. Black actors. All right.
Welcome to Black Men Can't Jump in Hollywood.
Hollywood City. What are you gonna say, James? What are you doing? What are you gonna say?
I was gonna do some kind of like of a song, some kind of like a.
Why?
I don't know. Like, I just felt like it was calling to me.
What kind of
James, you're a strange man. You're a strange
It
man.
doesn't make sense, but it was what my impulse
Are your eyes open right now?
My eyes are open. Do they seem closed?
They do seem closed.
I'm
I squint a lot. I'm sorry.
all right. I'm Jonathan Braylock,
I'm James the Third.
I'm Jerah Milligan.
and today we are reviewing the film
Ride Along.
Ride Along.
Right.
Starring Kevin Hart and Ice Cube.
Kevin Hart and Ice Cube. This is our first Kevin Hart film.
Yes.
Yeah, this is directed by Tim Story as well, so it's a black director.
Who directed
Barbershop.
Barbershop.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep. And he directed, well, if you like him or not,
Barbershop
the first
2.
two, yeah, and the first two Fantastic Four
Fantastic
movies.
Four movies.
Oh,
Jessica
I
Alba.
don't like those. I think they're terrible.
Well, this is starting.
No, I do. I think they're terrible films.
Just don't like those at all.
no, I
It's so,
don't.
it's so funny. Like we're trying to do a Kevin Hart movie. Is it weird? Maybe we can talk about it later. But is it weird that when you watch this movie, that anyone feel like Kevin Hart is not the lead of this movie?
Yeah, it's kind of like it's
What? Why?
It's like a.
I thought
shared-
Ice Cube.
it's like
I thought
Ice-
Ice Cube was the lead, and Kevin Hart was like,
No, it is
No.
more about. It is more about Kevin Hart, I think, than
Yeah.
Ice Cube.
"Is it?"
Yeah,
Okay.
because he's the one who grows the most in the
Yeah.
movie.
I mean, it's definitely a shared movie. Like, it's definitely co-leads. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
but
Okay.
but I would say Kevin Hart like we're going. I mean, I know Ice Cube has an arc in that he has to like get it used to Kevin and whatever. But Kevin Hart has like the main.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like the
he-
story exists because of him, right?
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
Kind of. I don't know.
And it's about-
it's a it's definitely a it's
Yeah,
buddy
okay.
cop,
Yeah,
buddy
okay.
cop movie. So
Yeah.
it's hard to say who's the lead of
But
Bad
the-
Boys. You know what I mean?
Will Smith.
You say that, but is he
still-
really?
No,
you know what I mean?
I
It's
don't-
like
he's
Martin
not.
and Will like share screen time.
yeah,
and-
it's-
But so Ride Along, right, is a movie about this young guy, Ben. Ben is his
Ben.
name.
Yeah, his
is
name's Ben.
Ben is his
Ben,
name.
who is.
I love that he has the whitest name possible.
Who wants to be?
Ben.
I don't consider Ben a white name.
Ben
but-
is white.
I never met a black Ben except for Uncle Ben, and he's on the box of rice.
Uncle Ben.
So he's a security guard who's trained to be who wants to get into the police academy, right? And he's dating the little sister of
Ice Cube.
Ice Cube, who's an actual detective.
Tika Sumter. That's her name. Tika Sumter.
What's Ice Cube's name?
Ice Cube's name in the movie? James. James something.
James something. Ben is from Benjamin, which is Jewish. That's a Jewish name.
Yeah, so it's Jewish.
Anyway,
But the sister really wants the approval of Ice Cube before they can get married. So
you guys sound real excited about this film. What's
no,
that?
I thought James was super excited. That
No,
was
I
the
just-
saddest
I
description.
mean, that was
No,
like
I
the most mundane.
I
Like,
just thought you
yeah,
guys were
that's
going to
the
join
movie.
in with me.
No,
Nah.
you took over like you
You
wanted
took
to do
over.
it.
No, I
You
just thought we were doing it together.
Well, we weren't, and then you know.
I mean, listen, man. If you're gonna take over the descriptions from myself and Jonathan,
I
you
just
should be
thought.
excited
No,
when
I
you
just
do it.
thought. I just thought we were doing it together.
So here's the thing.
What a
I'm not.
fail.
I don't. I'm trying to look up the Rotten Tomatoes thing, but here's the thing that you need to know. This movie grossed a lot of money.
Made a bunch of money, and it came out in January.
It came out in January. I think it broke some records.
It was one
When
of the
it first
biggest.
came out,
Yeah, it was
though.
one of the biggest January releases.
Yeah, and it made like it made something like $130 something million domestically,
Damn.
and then like another like 19 internationally.
Hey, another 19.
Yeah, not bad. And essentially, it was like it was a film that people did not expect to do well. Like, I think people were like, whatever, this is. They kind of wrote it off, and then it did so well, and people were like, whoa. And to me, I know he had deals and he had movies already being filmed, but it was like, to me, it was like the big, like, boom, Kevin Hart is here, and he's going to be the lead in at least the next 7 movies.
Yeah, I mean, the budget on this movie was $25 million. It grossed 154.
Worldwide, right?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I mean, like 25 mil. And this is also, I want to give a shout out. Do we do shout outs? But Will Packer, right? Will Packer produced this movie. He produces like About Last Night, Think Like a Man.
Okay.
And the thing, a lot of these are Kevin Hart vehicles. But the thing I like to point out is that he has people of color in these films. and it's not about their race in the films that he puts out. He presents people of color as just humans who are living a life.
Yeah.
And that's one of the big things that Will Packer does. And I think he just got to deal with some crazy deal with NBC to like, you know, do TV shows and like a production deal.
Cool.
So, like,
Yes.
hopefully we'll have more people of color who are people.
Cheer,
Right.
Will Packer.
Because so like Think Like a Man, the film came out before Ride Along, but that was like it was like a Best Man Holiday type movie, right? There were like three couples.
Think Like a Man? Oh, yeah.
The Thing Like a Man was a hit.
Yeah,
and it was a
different couple.
It was a pretty big hit. Ride Along is actually Kevin Hart's biggest hit, where he's the lead.
Where he's the lead?
It made more money than Think Like a Man. But Think Like a Man also was pretty important, I think. And like, so anyway, that being said, this film, Rotten Tomato meter, what do you guys think it is?
Oh, it probably got like a 26.
Ooh, okay. That was good. I mean, I'm way overshot it. I was going to say like 80 something. No.
80? You thought it got an 80?
For people that like...
Wait, you legitimately thought that Rotten Tomatoes gave this an 80%?
Because it made so much money. Like, aren't people... Doesn't that... Isn't...
What?
Wait. Do I not understand Rotten Tomatoes?
No, I don't think you do.
I don't think you do.
Isn't
Rotten Tomatoes
like,
is a consensus of all of the different critics.
Yeah,
like
but
critics,
all of
film
just
critics.
like the film critics. But
Yeah.
there's an audience version.
There's an
of it,
audience score too.
But
all
the
right,
main
so
Rotten
you think
Tomatoes
the
is just
audience
critics.
score is 80%?
too. Yeah, I thought the audience score was high.
You think the audience score is 80%? What do you think the critic score is?
Okay, I'll say 34.
Great, you're both wrong. It's 18.
Damn.
18%, and the audience score is 53, which is still rotten.
Yeah.
But it made some people went to support
But
it.
people went and saw it, and they loved it.
I mean, here's the thing. I saw
People
this movie
saw it.
in theaters when it came out.
But wait, did people see it and love it, or did it just
Or
make a
people
lot of money?
saw it. Maybe just like people just saw it.
Can I describe to you the situation? I went
ahead.
to go see it in Times Square. I never forget. It was Saturday at like 1. I was trying to kill time. I saw this movie, and it was packed full of like teenagers. And like, and literally,
that makes sense.
They were going nuts. Like, I
Yeah.
mean, because the thing is about this movie is
know what it is?
it had a lot of people from social media in it. It had like, you know, what is it? Emmanuel Hudson. It had like
Yeah.
a lot of like, and people went. He showed up with one line. People went crazy.
Charlamagne's
like,
in it?
Oh, when you
Charlamagne's
saw
in
it?
Yeah, when I saw it, people like went nuts. And I saw him
that's
later. I say, "Oh,
funny.
people know who you guys are." When Spoken Reasons popped up, people went crazy. Like it was just like a.
That's funny.
It was like a very. It was packed full of kids. They loved it.
You know what it is too? Kevin Hart is the Dane Cook of our generation.
Whoa, 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 whoa!
It's the Dane Cook. Explain.
Whoa! I'm in terms of the meteoric rise in popularity of a stand-up
Amongst young people. Yeah.
like so many.
I can
I'm not
see
saying
that,
that
but
adults
he's-
don't like him. I'm not saying adults don't like him at all.
But-
What I'm saying is that Kevin Hart is like the stand-up. I remember working at a restaurant, and like people would come in and like talk about, I forgot which Grown Little Man or whatever came
Grown
out,
Little Man, yeah.
and like people like came in and like all people were doing
Say it with your chest.
were quoting Kevin Hart. Like they
Yeah.
would just, and then from that point on, people always be like, "Yeah, say it with your chest." You know what I mean? Like,
I would even not to
or,
end.
what's the dad thing?
Oh, a long dick.
Wait, but what is he like? What is that when he's like?
Oh, it's about because he has a couple with the dad. It's like one is like when the dad came to like his recital or something. It's like his dad came in sweatpants. It was just
Oh, right.
smacking everybody with his dick.
Oh man,
Kevin Hart. Oh my goodness. Yo, Kevin Hart. Technically, I see. The thing is, Dane Cook is so weird because I guess I don't know that much about Dane Cook. Because every time I think of Dane Cook, and no diss to him, I think of him in a negative light because it was like the whole stealing jokes thing, and people were like, "Oh, he's like."
Yeah, but that was
whatever.
such bull crap.
Yeah, it was-
honestly,
it was-
No, like I don't. The thing is, I don't know what. The only thing I say about Kevin Hart is that Kevin Hart came through the ranks, and it's so like he's been around for so long, that it was like you saw the rise, and then what he did was once he hit this peak, he hit social media so hard. It's like now he's interacting with kids. Now he's making fun of like Meek Mill, Drake,
yeah,
and like he's in
his
it.
Instagram's
you know?
super popular. Wait, what were you saying?
Well, I mean, I was just gonna say that like it's slightly different than Dane Cook in that he is he's larger. You know what I mean?
Because he got a long. That's what that line.
What do you mean he's larger?
Well, that like Dane Cook did not and was not able to do in movies what Kevin Hart.
Oh, in movies, yes.
You know,
Yes,
and,
yes.
but like, and with stand up too, because like, because you could probably
You think so?
but
Kevin Hart is
you could-
huge
but
in
you
stand-up.
could,
No, he is.
You could
It's different now, though. Like the amount of people who've sold out selling out Madison Square Garden used to be like this thing that no one could do. Like like freaking Andrew Dice Clay sold it out. He's a stand-up.
Yeah.
And then Dane Cook, like when Dane Cook sold out Madison Square Garden, people were like, that's insanity.
Right.
But now, like since then, like a
But he doesn't
couple
do-
more people. It's still pretty exclusive. It's still, you have to be pretty huge. But like Louis C.K. sold it out a bunch of times. Kevin Hart has. Aziz Ansari has.
Kevin
So
Hart just sold
it
out a
doesn't.
football stadium.
Yeah, and
No, you're right. I agree, but because his what we're saying about what I was talking about was his stand up though. Like
Yeah.
he was huge in stand up in this way. To me, that Dane Cook was so it makes sense that a bunch of people would go see the movies.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But I think Kevin Hart's work ethic in film and his work ethic overall is so. I mean, Dane Cook is a hard worker, but like Kevin Hart, like was
works.
like, I am forget it. Like, and his business model, like he set up guys and people around him, writers around him, like. He has like people that follow him around and videotape him like nonstop. He has people around him who he says like he's like, oh, that's good, write that down, and like they'll write it, and he spitballs with people like on
Yeah.
the go. Like
that's why I think it's bigger. I mean, like you can't compare it, and I do think that I think it's a good comparison because it's very close. Because like I didn't know who Dane Cook was at all, and I remember what it was like. People were just like my roommate at the time, who was like not a comedian, was like, "Oh my god, this guy!" You know,
Yeah.
It was like, and that was how I heard about him. You know,
yeah, I mean, he was huge.
But yeah, it definitely.
I just
feels
feel like, man, the thing is, it's still so tricky because when I think of Dane Cook, did Dane Cook ever release any like stand-up specials in theaters? Like Kevin Hart had 3 that made a bunch
I
of
don't
money.
think.
No, but
I don't think
to be
Vicious
fair, that
Psycho-
wasn't like wasn't as big of a thing. And also, Kevin Hart's stand-ups. I mean.
But
This is what we're saying, though. There is a difference, but I'm just talking about the popularity of a comic going into a film.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean? Because here's the thing. Like, first of all, let's just do. Oh no, I like talking about before we start talking about the movie. Kevin Hart has been, like you said, has been around for a long time.
I mean, he did an old
time.
He did an old Rockefeller film. What was it? Oh, I gotta find it. It's like he's the lead in like one of those like hip hop artists used to make like a bunch of like straight to VHS movies like Baller Blocking and
why
like
we both think of Baller Blocking
because that was the one that like that was the one that did it. That was the one that did it. Baller Blocking and like Master B had Holla If You Hit Me and all that other stuff.
Right. But Kevin Hart was in all those freaking awful scary. He was in Scary Movie 3.
Yep.
And then he was in like epic movie, like superhero movie.
And
he was
he's
in
in,
those
like,
honestly the movies that I hate, like those.
He's in 40-Year-Old Virgin for like a set. He was like
He was great in 40-Year-Old Virgin though.
40-Year-Old Virgin is so.
But yeah.
Second.
But I remember him in like he's like a funny dude, and he's been in like movies, but he's been in god awful movies, like movies that are truly like the scum of the earth. Like honestly,
why you call it the
no,
scum
but
of the
no,
earth
it's
movies,
true though.
though?
Like if you watch like epic movies, superhero, like
those movies are bad.
those movies are like if we are going to criticize stereotypical black films, like those films should be excoriate. Like people should just like hate on them so much.
I mean, he's played like a gangster. I think in Scary. What was the Scary Movie? It was a Scary Movie 3 that had Charlie Sheen in it.
Yeah,
Like one of him, he played like him and Anthony Anderson.
It was him and Anthony
thugs.
Anderson.
Yeah,
Yeah.
They like straight up played.
Where,
they
like,
were
with, like,
they
dumb-
were the Brokeback.
Anthony Anderson.
Were they
Oh
the
yeah,
Brokeback
Brokeback. They
Thugs?
were.
Yeah,
They were
Brokeback
Brokeback Thugs.
It was crazy.
And he was in Soul playing Kevin Hart.
You mean Soul playing the movie that Magic Johnson banned from the Magic Johnson Theater because he said it hurt black people so much? He did. I remember that movie came out, and it was a thing with.
Now it seems like we're just shitting on Kevin.
No, we're not. No, we're not.
No,
We're
setting up.
He's
like
come.
this is who he has. This
is
what
where
he's
he
come
was.
from.
This is where he's coming from.
Think about this. This is the one thing, and I think Braylock, and this is to piggyback off you a little bit. I feel like what you were setting up is like Kevin Hart. There's some movies that people normally can't rebound from.
Yeah,
like the
right.
scary movies. Soul Plane was taken out of the urban areas because they were like, this makes black people look bad.
Yeah.
So for him to star in that movie as the lead and to make it to where he is now, that is work.
Right, because think about Anna Faris, right? Who I still think is super funny.
Super funny.
Because, like, she's been forever tainted by those scary movies. Like,
She did too
because
many.
she did so many, it was just like, yeah, that's the... And I saw... What was the movie she was with Ryan Reynolds? The...
Just Friends.
Just Friends. Like, I thought that movie was really funny. But, like... And she played... Oh, she was kind of like the secondary character. 'Cause
She
played
played
like
the crazy
the
pop,
crazy
yeah.
pop. But like, yeah, like, and she still does stuff. And she's, again, I said super talented, and she's married to like Chris Pratt. So, but I think like that's what we're saying is like it's hard when you get tainted with like when you're in think about it. He was in Scary Movie 3. I think it's two of the other of those, like either epic movie or superhero movie, and Soul Plane. Those are honestly just like universally known as like some of the worst movies of all time.
Yeah,
I think that's why his stand-up helped out too.
So like, and that's
his work ethic.
But that's what's great about him, right? Is that like he still talks about it now. He's like, the only reason I'm doing these movies is because of my stand-up.
Because he wants to do stand-up.
I just want to do stand-up. You know, I want to do these movies. These movies they're going to go overseas, and then I'm going to be able to go do my stand-up in all these places, all these places.
But
overseas.
it's so funny because I know we talked about it in the cold open with this article. He has been very adamant and very outspoken about trying to stop this whole black film thing. Like this whole like negative connotation about like, oh, he's starring in a black movie. He's been actively doing that, and I think we haven't gotten to Ride Along yet.
Gotten to Ride Along.
But the thing,
I hope we never do.
Yeah, I know, seriously. But the thing about Ride Along that he does do well is like Ben is a guy who loves his fiance, right? Is a little subplot that is very thin. Cares about a kid in the school and making sure he does right. You know, he just wants to help out. And you know what? I don't even remember if anyone ever refers to him as like the black dude who. I mean, he makes fun of like white kids at one point, but no one refers to him as like the black dude.
Yeah, but I also think that that's something that's great about Kevin Hart just in general, because like I can't even like when I think about his stand up, and I've seen I think all of it, but I can't even like just pinpoint like this is when he goes black people do this and white people do this. Like he doesn't even that's not even at the core of what his stand up is, which I think is great about him as a personality. Oh my god!
That's what it is. Oh my god! Okay, listen. It's so funny because he made it cool. Because this is the thing I think we talked about. And,
he does talk about blackness, but
he does.
He definitely does.
It's not that he doesn't, because he's talking about his life and he's talking about what he knows. But it's not like.
But also he uses some stereotypes, but to subvert them.
Yeah, and it's also he does something that we've talked about, and it's like, oh my goodness, think about like Back to Best Man. We talked about Morris Chestnut, right, and how rarely we can see a black man be vulnerable. What Kevin Hart's stand-up is, at a core to me, is a dude who is from a bad area who is not tough.
Yeah.
Like, he is literally, like, almost what you don't expect, like, the stereotypical black man to be. Like, he's small. Like, he's not the dude, like, who's going to stay and fight. Like, he literally has jokes about, like, I'm not doing it. Like, the way he talks is it's like, he is literally the thing that we rarely ever see represented. It's like the other person, like the other kind of black person, which, not everyone wants to stay and fight. It's crazy.
Well, yeah. Okay, so let's just use that as a jumping off point, because that's the thing that he uses in this film the most, right? Yeah. So Ride Along, what are first thoughts?
Oh, we're talking about the movie?
Let's talk about the movie.
Yeah. So now this is my second time seeing it. I mean, I don't love this movie.
I'm actually shocked to hear you say that.
You know what I mean? I don't love Ride Along, and I really, as a massive Kevin Hart fan, I really wanted to love this movie,
right?
And I don't. I love that his character is so much of the stuff that I love about his stand up. That's like someone who can like go off on a topic and like be on a tangent for like a minute and a half. That's like so much of the humor comes out of like that stuff. But like I feel like the movie doesn't really know what it wants from itself. There's a line in it in the middle where Kevin Hart says, "You don't even know why you don't like me," which really feels like the writer saying like, why doesn't he like him?
Right.
And
100%.
I need to answer this question right now.
Well, I mean, they try to set up this theme about like get to know the real person. Anyway, continue.
I mean, they come up with it, but
continue.
Up until that point in the movie, you're kind of also wondering why he doesn't like. But like and I'll just mention John Leguizamo for a second as well. Like, I hate that he's playing this part that's just as someone who I've looked up to for a very long time. I hate that he's just playing like this part that's just like just a cop that's dirty. Do you know what I mean? And not someone that like has more to do in the as someone who's probably like the fourth or fifth build, role. He's still kind of like All right,
I
he's
would
just
say-
one of the cops.
Yeah.
You know.
He should have been third.
No,
Fishburne?
Fishburne was third.
Okay.
He got the and. Fishburne got the
He got the and?
Mm-hmm.
No, I'm talking
Yeah.
about, no, but the end credits, though, he was third, though.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
I'm not going to lie to you. I first saw this movie, hated it with all of my heart.
You hated it with all of your heart.
I did. And now,
When you saw it in theaters?
when I saw it in theaters.
Okay.
And I saw it yesterday, and I was like, I like this movie.
I'm glad.
It's so interesting. The
Okay,
reason- I can tell you
explain
why I like it.
yourself.
The thing is, I don't think. Don't get me wrong.
To
I don't
me.
think this is like the best movie. I don't think it's like the best buddy comedy. But
You're correct.
after watching it, I was just happy it existed, though. Like
Yes.
to me, I gave. And the thing is, this maybe I'm not even saying it's good. But what I'm saying, the reason I liked it is because one, he cared about that kid. Like I was like, oh, this is a cool little thing.
What kid?
Like it was like at the school, and there was like this kid who was about to skip school, and he's
Yeah,
like,
Jacob
you know what's gonna
Lattimore.
happen? What's gonna happen? You ain't gonna have no legs. You ain't gonna have no legs. Blah blah blah. I like that. I can actually listen. I like the spot with the kids. I like that he took a lot of people who are, I guess, urban celebrities like Spoken Reasons, Emmanuel Hudson, Charlamagne the God, put them in this movie, gave them like their first acting credits. I like that like Kevin Hart was just a guy.
Yeah.
Like just a guy who played video games, who had a beautiful fiance. I like that. I mean, honestly, I know John Leguizamo. I was about to bring up John Leguizamo. I'm happy John Leguizamo was in a movie. Like, I understand, because to me, it's like, instead of having, somebody had to play a dirty cop, right? Instead of having two white dudes do it, I'm happy we had John Leguizamo.
Yeah.
I'm happy we had Lawrence Fishburne in it. I'm happy the movie didn't end with some cliche like, oh, we're trying to get out the hood or something. I'm just happy it was like a scene of two people figuring this thing out. It wasn't even a big deal that
And
Lawrence
I don't-
Fishburne was black.
I don't disagree with any of those points you just made.
I'm not saying-
I
I'm
think
not
all of that stuff is great.
I'm not saying the script was good. I'm not
but
saying
yeah,
it
but
was
like that's
I'm
what I
not-
mean. Like, did you?
I'm not saying the script was good, but to me, it's like at its core, I think the script could have been stronger. But at its core, it's like those things I rarely get to see, and
Yes.
I'm happy I finally got to see it.
100%.
So that's why I liked it.
To me, you sound like a man who's been deprived of thirst for 48 hours and then is given some piss to drink
Oh my goodness!
Wait, piss to drink.
Oh my
and
goodness!
is so thankful
drink?
for some.
Oh
Yo,
my goodness!
you just called Right Along piss.
No.
Oh
I
my
don't
goodness!
appreciate
Listen,
that.
first of all,
I didn't like the movie.
Calm down. First of all, let me just say this up top.
He came so hard in this movie.
I really hope Kevin Hart never hears this. But
Oh, he definitely will hit the podcast.
Tim Stories.
Wait,
listening to
wait,
this, like,
wait.
The fuck he said?
Wait.
Just call my movie piss real quick.
Let me be clear. I love Kevin Hart. Kevin Hart is easily one of my top 3 stand-ups, if not number 1.
For sure.
For
sure.
And I loved him before he was in movies. Obviously, I think we all did. But still, I just have to say it. Like, his stand-up is so funny. I think he's so funny. I think he's so talented. And I think this film is representative of a lot of, honestly, like when you talk about black comedians, especially ones who are quote-unquote fast-talking, and are put into literally this exact type of movie, a carbon copy movie of like, this is a cop movie. Let's put a black, our comedian black person in there and let them do their thing. Eddie Murphy, Chris Tucker, Martin Lawrence, Kevin Hart, right? It just happens again and again and again. Fine. I'm okay with it. And I'm okay with it not being that good.
Yeah.
Because like we were saying, like, it's great. Like, black people deserve to be able to make average movies and not it mean like, oh, this is like hurting the cause or whatever, all that stuff.
Right, yeah.
That being said, I'm not going to sit here and pretend like this is a good movie.
Yeah. I mean, you call
this movie Piss, though.
Here's the thing.
Piss is like,
To me,
that's-
it's like, because like what you're saying, like all those excuses, like I'm happy to see John
am.
Leguizamo in something. It's like, nah, screw that, because John Leguizamo is so much better than this movie.
Yeah.
Lawrence Fishburne is so much better than this movie. Kevin Hart is so much better than what this movie
And
is.
the actors, the acting in it is, I would say, is great. I did not like anybody's performance, and there wasn't a single person that I was like, why is this person in this movie? Or why did they choose that moment? Or why?
See, man, I
I
can't-
thought all that stuff was
Right,
was good. But
again-
but I just by the end of the movie, I was not like super satisfied.
Yeah, because anyway, we'll talk about some other stuff, but like to me, it's just like I'm not like whatever. It's fine. Like, famous actors are in bad movies all the time. Like, no matter what caliber you are, you know what I mean. Like, people are in bad movies. You know. That being said, it's just like I was just thought this is what I thought though. My ultimate thought is Kevin Hart is super talented, and this movie would be an utter disgrace to what the term movie is if Kevin Hart wasn't in it. Because the film, and look, this is not to disrespect Ice Cube. Like, Ice Cube does his thing. You know, we've talked about Ice Cube in Barbershop. Like, you know, I think he's able to do like what films almost always call for him to do, which is just like be like this tough dude, like straightforward, kind of like, and has a little bit of a soft spot. You know what I mean? Like, he does that time and time again. But he can't, like, at least for me, for my money, he can't like carry a movie, especially a comedy. He needs somebody else to bounce off of, and Kevin Hart was that person. And almost all of the funny moments to me happened because of Kevin Hart. It didn't happen because of the situation or the script. You know what I mean? Like, it happened because Kevin Hart added a little something that I'm like, there's no way that was in the film. So,
But
for
that
instance,
happens
like,
all the time.
yes
though.
and no, though. Yes and no, because I think there are certain comedies where the premise of the comedy is super funny, and there are lines that are super funny that that actors can just nail, and like there are moments, the way that the direction happens and all that stuff. They're set up so that it's not always just the improv. Like, for instance, there's a line where Kevin's like, can I get that Wi-Fi? You know, that Wi-Fi? Let me get that Wi-Fi. And I'm like, there's no way in the script or that Tim Story was like, say Wi-Fi. But Kevin did it, and it made it funny. Like, and that happens, like, that kind of moment happens like 100 times.
No, I agree, but I feel like that, what you're saying right now, is why you hire a comedian to be in a movie. Like, to me, it's like when I think about Beverly Hills Cop, some of the funny lines are like, I'm pretty sure Eddie made
The
up. When I
funniest
think-
stuff in Beverly
When I
Hills
think
Cop
about
is
40-Year-Old
what Eddie
Virgin,
made
especially
up.
when you watch those outtakes, it's like, some of the funniest lines came from them just like spitball. I mean, to me, like, Kevin Hart did a good job because he did his job.
Yeah,
Wait.
he does a great job in this.
But
so.
No, you're right. Here's the thing, though. Here's what I want to talk about. Here's what I'm talking about what you said, right? Yes, I agree with Beverly Hills Cop, because Beverly Hills Cop, to me, I don't know if it was even supposed to be a comedy or that much of a comedy when it first was written, because Sylvester Stallone was we talked about this, right? So, like, this is what I'm talking about. Like, that's what they do. Like, we talked about the fact that Eddie Murphy makes Beverly Hills Cop.
Yeah.
That being said, when it gets to Trading Places, you know what I mean? Trading Places is a movie where the premise is also funny. Eddie Murphy heightens it and takes it to another level.
Right.
But even if you didn't have someone as talented as Eddie Murphy, the movie itself would still kind of be funny. You brought up 40-Year-Old Virgin. 40-Year-Old Virgin, the premise is hilarious. It's about a man who's 40 years old who's never had sex before, and he's wanting to have, you know what I mean?
And I would say
it's
the
like,
premise of this is
What's
funny
the premise?
too, right? The premise is like, I mean, right? Like,
I disagree.
No, I think
you don't think so? I mean, it's like.
I think it's enough. I think it's good enough. Like, again, like, I think, no, but the thing is, like,
Yeah,
I
it's
think,
good enough because Kevin Hart can take it.
Yeah, and I think that, to me, and that's the point of this. And I think, like, yes, could things have been better? Yeah, and it may be because is you know, we've been so deprived, and it's like a nice fresh glass of piss. But it's like someone, no, but I'm saying, but someone.
I'm gonna say it. Right along is not piss.
No, but hold on, hear me out. I've been defending the movie, so it's like if they listen, they know they're being defended by at least one of them. The thing is, like, someone tried. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Someone attempted to put a foot forward, and it's like, look, man, they had a black director. It's not the best movie. Some movies aren't the best, but they attempted to do.
I don't agree. I agree that Kevin Hart tried.
You don't think? Like,
you don't think everybody else tried to? I think
really? Whoa! No, you guys, hold up. You really think the writers try? All right, let's just talk through this movie, right? Because I don't want it to just debate like whether this is just a good film or not. Like,
okay, yeah. So where do we start?
So
I think directing wise, I think Tim Story sometimes has been hit or miss. I think at least when it came to these action scenes, he did. I mean,
wait,
when the movie gets started, and like, and they start shooting, and like the stuff slows down, and it's like the credits. That's exciting.
To me, it's like I think Tim Story did a good job at least with like action. To me, it's like, and to me, whether it was the writing is probably the weakest part of this film. But when I say they tried, for instance, there's a scene early on, like, the very beginning when the first villain is leaving, Ice Cube trying to chase him. And because we all know Ice Cube is like the tough dude who really doesn't make a joke. Usually he's like, his facial reaction is like what makes it funny because someone's bouncing off him.
Yeah.
You could tell they tried to lighten him up where like he's at the valet trying to get a car to do the car chase and they bring up a Prius, and he's like, get this Prius out of here. And like,
Yeah,
and
oh
you
my
could- and
God.
You could tell they were trying to like liven him up and it was like... And
Were they trying to liven up? I thought for a second they were trying to blacken him up.
I mean,
who knows?
yeah,
It could have been blacking him up, but also
That's what I felt. I was like, get this Prius. I'm like, what the hell's wrong with the Prius?
Honestly, get this Prius out of here. You know what I mean?
No, I don't.
I'm not doing
It's just a chase scene.
Braylock, you ain't doing no car chasing, no Prius.
car chasing a Prius?
Why? Because you don't look cool enough?
It's not fast enough.
You gotta,
Man,
you gotta
that's
be
some
going,
ghetto
you gotta be going,
mentality.
No, it is not
and you gotta be
ghetto.
going, you gotta go faster, and you gotta look fucking badass.
Wait. So you think that Ford 1/5 that pickup truck goes faster than a Prius? I bet
mean,
you they go
it
the
looks
exact
hot, though.
same speed,
It had racing
especially
stripes.
going down a city block.
It had racing stripes.
Could you go through some fire in a Prius?
Yeah, I know that
go
was
through
just
some fire?
that was just absolutely ridiculous.
Made
First
no
of all,
sense.
that dude made like the coolest like transporter motion.
Yes.
He like put his brake on, spun the car around. With the gun hanging out the window, was like, bop, 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 blew up a damn propane tank, and you telling me the thing that I'm supposed to be in awe of is Ice Cube just driving through it?
But-
Hey, man,
I
that
was
was a-
like, what?
No,
That was a lot of fire, though.
I think
That was a lot of fire,
both
though.
parts are supposed to be in awe of, but that was a lot.
That was a lot of fire.
Yo, also, when things blow up, metal straps go everywhere.
Nah,
It's not
man.
just the fact that it's just a ball of fire.
Not when you Ice Cube in that.
Have you seen
fucking
Ice Cube
red
in a truck,
pickup
bro? Come on, man.
God.
That truck had racing stripes, brother.
Anyway,
I was watching,
also,
I was
like,
watching with
to
my
make-
girlfriend, and the second they started shooting, she was like, "I hate this movie."
Yes, thank you.
And
your girlfriend is correct.
In my mind, the hip hop music started, and I was like, "I'm into this."
I was like, too. I was like, I'm gonna give this a chance. I'm gonna give this movie a chance.
She was just immediately
my
like,
God.
"I hate this."
So anyway, whatever. Okay. So yeah, I'm glad you brought up the Prius thing because that was the first thing I was like, oh. Anyway, so and then I want to move on to the moment that you're talking about, right? That you talked about before. You love the part where he's talking to that kid, but man, didn't we talk about in House Guest in the beginning when he's like playing ball or whatever, and we were like, that's so. It seems so inane. Like the beginning scene
Yeah,
when he
no,
was like when he was an orphan. Didn't you complain about that, Jerah?
To me, the reason that's safety because like say he was nice to this kid, right? But later on in the movie when he's on the ride along and it's a little kid on the playground, like he's not cool with this
Exactly.
kid. So,
That's what I'm saying. That's an inconsistency in the character.
But what I'm saying is he wanted to be. Like he was nice to that kid
Yeah.
at first. To the kid was like, you ain't, the kid popped off at him. So he was nice to the kid
No,
at first.
like,
no,
he was
wasn't.
He was nice
never
to that
nice
kid.
to him.
He
And,
was
like,
nice to that kid.
If you like just if you think about it in the way it fits in the scope of the movie, like that's supposed to also connect to how he listens and is attentive and remembers stuff. Like it's supposed to, but it just doesn't. And a reason why that moment just feels like it's unnecessary is because it doesn't feel like it connects to that stuff.
And it doesn't come back at all.
It doesn't
in any,
come back.
any sense.
Yeah, it doesn't
it's
come
just
back.
a way to. It's just a way for the writers to be like, this is a guy that you're supposed to like. He's a good guy. He has a good heart. To me, it was like. To me, though, the thing that I didn't. Again, we say that the film didn't bring up race at all. It did, though. And that was one of the moments where he was like, he said something about the kid being black and like, why are you hanging out with those white kids? I remember he like pushed the white kids away when he first was chasing after him. I thought he was just going to yell at him for hanging out with white kids.
Well, no, because he said he called them white at one point, but he gave them another name. I'm sorry, I remember. He called them he referred to them as like the bad kids. Like he literally stopped saying like their color, but like what they
Right, but
Yeah,
why does
as
he
he
care about
continues
this?
on
We don't know. We don't know that he has a family relation or whatever. Why does he care about this kid? Is it not
Right.
because he's a young black male?
We don't. I mean,
I mean, that's probably what it is.
I think
but
it is.
I know, but I'm saying, but they didn't say like, "Hey, I care about you because you's a Negro."
He didn't say that, but he otherized the white people.
Yeah.
So anyway,
I
I'm
don't
just
care
saying,
about them.
It's okay.
No, because I'm saying, in this movie right now, it's like they're not what you're trying to reach. He's like, I'm trying to reach this kid.
Why is he trying to reach that kid though?
But I mean, the thing is, like,
What is the reason?
it can be because he's black. But my thing is that bad?
It's not.
I'm not saying it's bad or I'm not saying it's good or bad, but what I'm saying is to say that this film isn't bringing up race is incorrect.
I mean, like, that's when it brings up race.
I know, but
in
it wasn't
that
like
sequence.
hammering it on. I mean, Beverly Hills Cop Eddie Murphy brings up his race
Literally
at one
every
point.
yeah,
time.
in a joke.
So it's like, yeah, but what I'm saying is,
times in the movie
what I'm saying
he
in
brings
this
it up.
movie is not like Kevin Hart's like, man, I gotta become a cop to save the black community.
Yeah,
no,
no.
he sees a kid, and it could have been a little white kid with glasses.
I didn't have a problem.
Whatever.
I didn't have a problem with that scene. One of my favorite jokes in it is right before that when he's like, "You're white, you don't fight." Like, that's very funny to me.
Oh, right. That's that was the moment
that's
before
what I
that.
was-
He says you're white,
That's
you
one
don't
of my
fight.
favorite. That's one of my favorite moments in this movie. But
Why?
because
Which is a ridiculous
very
thing.
funny. It's very funny.
Right.
It's
A
so
security guard
Saying you're white,
just saying,
you don't
you're white,
fight.
you don't fight. Like, that's his reason for breaking him up.
You're
Like, that's,
white, you
that's
don't
very
fight.
funny. You can't say that that's not funny, right? Like,
Oh yeah, because it's so ridiculous.
it's so
So
ridiculous.
ridiculous.
It's
All right.
insane.
Okay. So we're what 8 minutes into the movie.
We're 8 minutes
Race is
in.
mentioned twice. Okay.
Yes.
Well, here's the thing. Here's the other thing that I want to talk about, and this has nothing to do with how good the film is or not. Let's take a break from that. I think people are already like,
They're over it.
They're over
the
it.
audience is like,
Stop fighting about this
People are
movie.
like, I like.
No,
Yes.
absolutely not. People are like, I've never seen Ride Along, and I will never see it because John Braylock is usually correct about his opinion.
Okay.
Listen.
Okay.
Listen,
What
listen,
you want to
listen.
bring up?
How do you guys feel? We brought this up before, but like, I can't stop thinking about it in movies anymore. How do you guys feel about the amount of police brutality that it's in this movie?
Yeah, I know.
And how it is used as a joke. And not just that, but like the fact I'm watching Making a Murderer right now, which is also making me feel like I can't laugh at these things because they're so real. It's like, this is how cops like misuse their authority and the power and like force people to say things that whatever. Like Kevin Hart shoots a man.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah.
And they literally don't address it at all.
I mean, here's
like,
the thing.
shoot him again.
They like joke about it. They're like, you shot somebody.
Here's the thing.
He shot a man.
Here's the thing.
Yeah.
A
Is
black man
that
who just got out of prison.
that shouldn't be funny.
No, James, don't do this.
It shouldn't be
James,
funny.
don't say this.
But what I like about that part in the movie is that's a trope that we see in buddy cop movies all the time, where it's like one of them's going to be a bad cop, one of them's going to shoot you if you don't mess up, and then he is so bad at his job that he actually does shoot him. That is funny to me. That is funny
but
to
I
me.
think Braylock's question.
But I know what he's. I
And
know
it's
what you're
not
saying.
just that. It's like, that's like the height of it, but like everything. Ice Cube's throwing people up against. He has Jay Farrell throws him up.
Right before that, he throws the guy's head
in the glass.
into
Yeah.
the glass, and it shatters.
And it shatters. And even Kevin Hart with the kid, like the kid immediately, like Kevin Hart was like asked him a question, and the kid immediately was like, "What?" And then he immediately got aggressive with the kid, and I was like, "You are." I know this is funny. This is funny, but like because it was
I
so
didn't like the
constant.
kid part that much.
Because it was so constant. Like if it was only the kid part, I would be like, "Haha." But because it was so constant, I was like, "Man!" Like, and then I was thinking, there is zero way that this would be funny if these were white cops doing this. Don't you agree? Would you guys be
Like-
laughing amok
like-
if Kevin Hart and Ice Cube were white and they were but everything is the same, this like the pattern of like
story,
the story
everything.
is the same, like the characters are the same, like, oh, this guy is like tough and the other one's like kind of scared. If it was like Will Ferrell and Mark Wahlberg, you know what I mean? Like
The thing that's so tricky
Right.
about that is I could see if you took two black people, I feel like you could see two white guys do it. I feel like you could see your Seth Rogen and like.
I mean,
but would they be throwing black people up against things, shooting them, punching
But
them
no,
out,
like,
and
'cause
then
if
us laugh about
But
it?
yeah, but that wouldn't be funny because there's a different connotation there. Whereas in this movie, I didn't think about it until you brought it up just now. The police brutality,
Right?
Which is now that I think about it, it's like, oh, the movie's riddled with it, and
Yeah.
and if we're being socially conscious, it's like, yeah, maybe we shouldn't have stuff like that in movies.
No, I agree. It is a thing that's like. It's tough, as Braylock brings up a good point, where it's like there is so much police brutality, and if it was two white guys, it would be a problem. But the thing is like it's technically still a problem in 21 Jump Street. You know what I'm saying? It's like
Yeah.
if you bring it down to that point, if you're just talking about like, say, not white cops beating up like black actors on film, they like cops period beating up people is just a problem. You know, and it's like, and there's so many movies riddled with it. So I feel like if we're gonna break down this one, it's like, damn, we got to go back through almost every buddy cop film.
Yeah.
I mean, even
But
in
yeah.
even what is it? And the first Bad Boys and Bad Boys 2, where they take the one dude, the KKK dude, throw him in the trunk.
Well, that's the scene that I'm thinking of, where they're like, this guy's gonna shoot you. He's gonna shoot you, and then later Martin Lawrence like, I thought you were gonna shoot me. And he was like, I was, but he doesn't do it. And what I like about that moment in this movie is that it does happen, and I think it's funny.
Right.
But in thinking about it, the more movies like this and the more like images like this are in the public eye, the more we just start to understand like cops should be able to, cops doing what they have to do to get the information out.
Right. We feel good about it when we watch the movie.
Right. And so then who knows what that really does on the effect of people just in real life.
This is the thing that I wanted to bring up was that, and now I'm talking to black people. I'm talking to people of color right now.
Yeah.
Our people of color listeners.
Yeah.
It's like we have to be conscious about those things because, first of all, black cops can be racist black cops too. You know what I mean?
Oh, they can be meaner.
And they are. And they can be meaner, exactly. And they can feel like they have the license. We talk about in Straight Out, or I don't even know if we mentioned it, but in Straight Outta Compton, there was a scene where there was a black cop.
Right, yeah.
When they are like throwing them all on the ground and he's like doing the same thing. And he's just like, I don't care about y'all, And so the other thing we're going to talk about is like, okay, there's a I know we're getting real deep, but like there's always a public outcry when like these shootings happen.
Yeah.
And then when people are like, when people defend cops, we go, well, how can you do that? But we know how because we consume these types of things where we're
Right.
like,
True.
we understand the idea
Very
of like
true.
police being, and when you're a black person, especially a black male,
Yeah.
you see the other side so strongly. But if you're a white person, you're never thinking about those things.
Right.
What you do have is the images that we all are bombarded with, which is like police have to do what they have to do to get the
Right.
job done. It's an automatic assumption of guilt, and it's usually placed on people of color. So that was, I was just saying, I was like, I don't know, what did this guy even do? Like the guy that they shot, he just got out of jail. He
was a
didn't
cri-
actually do anything.
Well, he was a criminal. He was
just
on the run
knew-
again. And
no,
then
he wasn't on the run.
He was. Remember, because he said he was like, you ran back and hid at the same place.
No, he was like, you were hiding at the same. Yeah, but
Yeah,
he just got out of jail.
But he was
He was a part of the gang.
and that's the other thing that's hard about these images, right? Is what typically happens in these movies, and when we see this happening, is like someone's suspicion is immediately validated by like, yes, that person is
Is a
doing
gang,
something
yeah.
wrong, right? And it's
guess.
so hard too because we are picking this apart, right? Like we are being super specific, and we're saying like these images promote negative stereotypes or negative what is it? We have a negative understanding of how cops need to behave, right? And it's hard, but I mean, I don't know. I think just being conscious of it, right, is what you're saying.
Right.
Yeah, I think you're right, for bringing that up because I didn't even think about that until right now.
Because to me, my thing was like, it's fine to do that the comedy way. I just wish that the movie at least called out a little bit like what was happening.
Yeah.
Or I wish they had a person say like, dude, this is police brutality, and like just have one of those things, because I'm like, Ice Cube, you're like, you know what I mean? Like you're a person who is in the NWA.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You face police brutality. Like, you know how messed up it is. So, like, it's not just, I'm not saying that you can't make a joke of it. I'm a comedian. I think you can make a joke about anything. But, like, to not even call attention to it feels like a little weird to me.
I think when Kevin Hart, I think they attempted to at first. Like at first, when Kevin Hart, Ice Cube smashes the guy head on the glass. Like Kevin Hart definitely has like a crazy reaction.
He was like, yeah, and then he sees the glass and he's like, ooh.
Yeah, like he definitely like at certain points he definitely like
before
has
that-
freak out moments where he's like, oh, this just happened, this is crazy.
The first-
but it's not enough, maybe.
The first
I think it's just because
ride-along
I don't
moment-
think it was because like that was a bad thing. I think it was just like, this is intense, and I'm not a person who could smash somebody's head.
But the first ride along moment that they have, when they go to the bikers, he says like, don't touch anybody, which is a moment of kind of calling it out. I mean, like, right? It's like a moment of somewhat calling it out.
yeah, but
Other
I
thing
think he meant don't for Kevin Hart not to touch anybody because he didn't want to get beat up or whatever.
Another
But you
thing
can
that's
see it
hard about
either
it
way,
too
though.
is that that I'm sure that they feel like it's like people know that this is a comedy,
Right.
and yeah, like people do know that it's a comedy. But then the question now becomes like, do these images, do they have a negative effect on us? Like, do they? It's a question.
Yeah. Anyway, I just thought that was an interesting sidebar that we had to talk about.
Yeah.
If we want to get back to this terrible film,
I'm not calling it terrible, man.
no. Wait. Okay, I'm sorry. You're right. It's not terrible. It's very average. It's not. It's very mediocre. It would be terrible if Kevin Hart wasn't so great. I honestly mean that. I think that just watching him to me was so funny. But like, for instance, like in just terms of the script, why I think like they didn't necessarily try with this script, like. I saw that twist of John Leguizamo. I thought it was just John Leguizamo. I didn't realize it was him and his partner. But I saw that twist coming a mile away. It's
the first time I saw
telegraphed.
it, I didn't realize it, but now watching it again from the beginning, like from the first moment you see John Leguizamo, I think he's the one who sent the text that the people are cops. I think that was
he is.
He is.
Which
He
is
is the
crazy because like I never saw it before. So like you see it from the beginning, and almost every time you see him, there's hints that he and the other cop are.
I actually thought, and honestly, this might have been cooler. I thought he was Omar.
Oh, that would have been dumb.
I thought he was
I didn't
Omar.
think so because they show Lawrence Fishburne
as a
baby
kid.
picture. They show his baby picture.
Wait, when do they see?
In the beginning, they're like, we know what he looked like as a kid, and then it pans over, and it's just like a picture of Lawrence
young
Fishburne with
one.
a friend. It's
Oh,
like a little
right.
kid. It's very funny.
Right. I forgot about that moment. Anyway, but like, so like, there's just like very. Anyway, what? I don't know. You guys take over.
What? I know you've been going, man. What's
no,
going
because I don't
on?
want to
Well,
just crap on this movie. I want you guys to
just in talking about the script, like things that I like about the script and things that I like about the story that I wish were stronger or had more of a tie-in together is the video game expertise that he ended up having. Like I loved that he was like, I can hear all the guns. He knew all of the guns, like
How many bullets were left?
How many bullets were left? I think they had this many bullets. Like that I thought they could have utilized that way more.
Make him Rain Man.
they utilized it a little bit.
But that the whole ending could have been him.
It kind of was. They had the grenade. They had the
he
ammo.
Still gets the shit kicked out of him, and it's like
Have him be smarter.
It's like he could have had more. He could have had more of a role in the end. I think. I just think there could have been more. And then I think it's cool that
the grenade thing was but honestly, it was such a stretch for them even to have that stuff. Even the grenade thing, I was like, these dudes are just chucking grenades
Inside a warehouse.
Inside of a warehouse
with
explosives? Who does that? No, it was like, to me. So I don't know. When you said there could have been more, I was like, I felt like there were too many. Like that was like such a stretch, and it was it's such a thin like that to me. Okay, so for instance, that's the thing that's like the main funny thing that's written, right? You know what I mean? Like, that's like the thing that the script gives Kevin Hart to work with. To be like, here's a funny thing that we wrote to go work. And I'm like, that's so, to me, it's like so basic and like such a stretch to this idea that somebody can be good at video games, good at shooting in real life. And the only time it really works, I think, is when Kevin Hart is like, just making stuff up, like
but to me that's the beauty of Kevin Hart, and I don't know.
Agree.
To me, like
I agree. That is the beauty of Kevin Hart.
To me, like it's so hard for me to like hammer down on the script because, like, I know the script isn't good, but like sometimes there are movies like this all the time that people consider good. That just like when you think about it's it's average, but
right.
It's just tough because like I can't overanalyze it. All I can think about is like the two leads, right?
Yeah.
And to me, the two leads when I think of like Kevin, I mean, even when I think of Tika. I hope I'm saying her name right. Tika. Like, she was in this movie, and you can tell, like, you didn't know what she did.
Is that the actress's name? Or
that's the actress. That was his fiance. Tika Sumpter, I think is her name. And the thing is, you could tell they tried to add... They didn't do a great job. But they tried to add a scene where, like, she just wasn't a straight-up damsel in distress. Like, they tried to add a shot. They tried to add the quick scene of her actually playing the video games
That
and,
was
like, being
so
a boss.
funny.
And, like, then they tried to add the scene of, like...
But then that
her,
connected to her getting...
Yeah, and this is the thing, like, so, and then even when that happened, it's like she steps into, like, the line of fire. Like, she gets her own self out, like, when she, like, gets the bands under the table. She hits the dude in the back of the head. So they tried, and I know it wasn't the best, but like
She's
if this
still
was another
at
movie,
the end with a gun pointed at her head.
true. But the thing is, like, at least she had a chance to fight. Whereas, like, when you think about like she did, she literally.
No, I
hit
agree,
one,
but I don't. If you're about to say that other movies don't do that, I disagree.
Sometimes what I'm saying is, like, sometimes in those movies is that she could have been tied up the entire time, right? And my thing is, and I'm not trying to say they did a great job, but I'm saying at least they attempted to like show why she liked him.
I liked their
think
relationship. I thought their relationship was.
I'm not saying it was great, but I'm saying they like in a lot of these kind of movies. Like, I mean, honestly, think about Bad Boys, right? Let's think about Bad Boys.
Right.
Think about like Will Smith's friend who gets killed. We don't know too much about her, to be honest.
Right.
I mean,
But
even
she's not the main.
I know, but even Tia Leone, like her backstory is literally like she was friends with a roommate. She happened to be that. At no point is she like punching anybody.
No, like,
she's running, she's being dragged, and she gets a gun at the very end of the movie. Right?
Yeah.
And my
Yeah.
thing is, but what I'm saying is like they try to do the same thing. So like if that movie can attempt, this movie tried. They didn't do a great job, but they tried to give her.
Here's why I disagree. I agree that they tried. I mean, well, I don't know if they tried. To me, they did what the average movie does. Like I think the average movie usually has the damsel in distress make some concerted effort to try to get away. They usually get one or two hits in, and then they're caught. The reason for that being is just a movie like structure
it's a
thing,
plot
right?
device.
Like it's just a thing to be like to amp up the attention. Like you don't want her to see just get her, her get caught right away. You want to see her. Maybe she'll get out of it, and then of course she doesn't because she's a woman. Like that's what happens in movies.
And this is just making me think about Kevin Hart's last kick move at the end.
You mean the Mortal Kombat?
Funny as hell. That was so drop. No, he's like drop kick.
The Mortal Kombat.
The thing that's hard about this movie for me though is I, besides the video game thing, I don't see that Kevin Hart's character should be a cop. Like I don't see that.
Yeah, he didn't grow.
And there's a moment where right before that kick move when he looks at Ice Cube and he's like, "Trust me," and I don't know why he should.
No, he doesn't know.
No, you're absolutely right.
You're right.
Because even
he doesn't grow.
Well, here's the thing. I will say, because the thing is, like, Kevin Hart keeps saying, like, I gave you a clue. It's like, you didn't give him, you accidentally stumbled upon a clue. You didn't give him a clue. It wasn't like he figured it out. He's not Martin Lawrence in Blue Streak, right? He's not, like, figuring things out where other people aren't.
You just bring up Blue Streak?
Yeah, I did. We
And
reviewed,
it was like in a
think about it, we
positive
reviewed.
way.
This is the fourth cop movie with the fast talking black person that we reviewed. How many?
Yeah.
We've only been doing this since August.
Yeah, true.
It's a trend. So but my
And
thing
we're
is
running out of studio
and
movies.
also this is. I mean, okay, even if you guys liked Ride Along, can't you agree that this is the worst out of those four?
You gotta.
Oh my goodness! Why?
Wait, but for real,
You gotta stop trying to hammer your point.
But here's the reason that I'm trying to hammer this point.
Hold on. Let me. Before you do.
Okay.
You go ahead. My thing is when we talk about this,
I'm not trying to get you hated on by Tim Story or Kevin Hart or Ice Cube. I love guys. Of course, we support African Americans making movies, no matter what. You can make the worst movie ever. I'm still supporting you.
No, but what I'm saying is like I feel like we're really analyzing the film. We're like honestly, the point sometimes isn't whether or not the movie. No. Sometimes we're like the cause is like whether or not we like the movie,
right?
Whether or not the movie is good. And I feel like we're focusing so much on whether this is a good or bad movie.
Well, here we go. I'll get to my main point now. Right now that we're like 40 minutes in. No, but here for real. This is the reason that I'm bringing this up. I was building up my argument. I watch Making a Murderer, y'all. I think I can be a lawyer one day. Okay, listen here. This is why I'm building up my argument.
No.
Okay. Well, for real though. Eddie Murphy. Name your favorite Eddie Murphy film, or top 2 or 3.
I love Beverly Hills Cop 2. I love
the sequel.
I love the sequel because I was bored up.
No,
I was alive.
Really
I remember that one.
Cool.
Mm-hmm.
Just like What
I remember
else?
that one.
James.
Well, Beverly Hills Cop.
Beverly Hills Cop 2. What about Coming to America?
Oh,
And then
of
Come
course.
to America.
What about Trading Places?
Trading Places is up there. And then what's the other one?
Metro.
What are you doing, the Holy Man?
People hate on Metro so much.
Metro.
What was that?
There's one more I'm thinking of.
From the 80s and the 90s. Family movie, Norbit.
Yo, I didn't hate
the one
Norbit,
with-
yo.
You didn't even hate Norbit.
What's the
Okay.
one when he's
Nutty
is not a
48
favorite movie.
Hours?
I'm just trying to remember this.
Nutty
movie.
Professor?
No, when he's a politician or when he's
A holy man?
It's not holy.
Oh, what's the one where he's with Steve Carell?
Golden
Not
Child?
Steve Carell. Golden Child.
No, it's not Golden Child. But yes, Golden Child is in my list. Of,
Harlem Nights. Anyway, whatever. Okay, so we have the.
But I have a bunch of movies.
What about Martin Lawrence?
Martin Lawrence. Favorite?
Yeah,
Bad Boys.
great.
Man, probably Bad Boys.
Bad Boys.
And then Blue Streak.
You love Blue Streak.
I mean, that might be. Oh my God.
Bad Boys. Bad Boys.
Why are you asking
All
me?
right, all right. What's your favorite Kevin Hart movie?
Oh, well, I mean, let me explain.
No, but
Okay, so not his stand-up. What is your favorite Kevin Hart movie?
That's tricky. I think I like when Kevin Hart is in, About Last Night, when he's in those kind of movies, because I feel like those movies.
Is that? I'm just saying. I'm talking about I'm not talking about what's your favorite Kevin Hart performance in a movie. I'm just saying what is your favorite movie that Kevin Hart is also in? Just your favorite movie that Kevin Hart is in, even if he's not the lead.
I mean, favorite movie that he is in?
I love him in 40-Year-Old Virgin.
Yeah, I was about to say
40-Year-Old
that too.
Virgin. Yeah. And then what? And then what about if he's lead?
This is the longest setup of all time.
I'm just saying.
Yeah,
What about
if he's lead? Well, you know what is not a bad movie that. Well,
Okay,
I didn't hate Wedding. The
wedding. You didn't
Ringer.
hate.
I didn't hate the Wedding
You didn't
Ringer.
hate the Wedding Ringer. This is what I'm trying to. This is my point. Is Kevin Hart not the biggest stand-up right now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kevin Hart is the biggest, right? Wouldn't you say he's one of the best comedic actors that we have right now?
100%.
And we are struggling to talk about what our favorite film that he is in.
I was struggling.
And your favorite
Lawrence,
movie
too.
and our favorite movie that he's in is the 40. No, you said Bad Boys right away.
I know, but
you were
like
like,
the
you were
only
getting right. You were getting
But that's
disappointed
us,
that it
though.
wasn't more
But
than
that's-
Bad Boys. But Bad Boys is a great film that people love. 40-Year-Old Virgin is the
I
one,
will
and
say
he's
this,
one
though.
scene.
I will say this though. That is amongst us three, and I bet you if I went home and sat
Okay,
and sat
fine.
and was like and asked my sisters and my mom like, what's your
But
favorite
you
Kevin
can
Hart
say
movie?
that, but this movie is his most successful movie. It has 54% on Rotten Tomatoes for the audience.
Yeah.
I'm not even talking about the critics. For the audience, it's 54%. The critics is 18%. What I'm trying to say is I'm okay with people making average movies, and I'm okay with Kevin Hart making average movies. That doesn't bother me.
Mm-hmm.
What does bother me, though, is don't we think that there can be a team that can get behind, and I don't know why this is happening. Who knows? It's so singular that we can't really say anything, but I think it's interesting to bring up. Don't we think that Kevin Hart should have a Anchorman, that Kevin Hart should have Ace Ventura, that Kevin Hart should have
a Beverly Hills Cop,
a Beverly Hills Cop,
But you don't
or
think-
Kevin Hart should have. I mean, think about the people now, like The Heat, A Spy, A Bridesmaids. Kevin Hart should have like a
You don't
movie.
think they're and the thing is, it's tough because like I completely agree, right? But who's to say they didn't try to make this? Who's to say they didn't try to make this his Bad
I mean,
Boys?
Right Along.
Well,
Right Along is that though.
But
right?
that's what I'm saying, though. That's what I'm saying is like, so why does this have to be that for him when these other people can get movies that you have people who are
Oh, but
you have writers that are.
and Get Hard was supposed to be very good.
He also had. I feel like people are like he's still in the heat of his like power. Now.
Yes,
So I feel
and
like
he's already starting. Like people are already. It's for comedians. You get legitimately 6 or 7 movies before the whole. The zeitgeist starts to be tired of your shtick because that's just how comedies work. But usually people pump out like 3 or 4, like boom. I agree with you. Martin Lawrence didn't get really that. This is why our podcast started, because of Martin Lawrence. Like, why didn't he blow up?
This is a hard one though. This is really hard because the Kevin Hart movie, even though this Right Along is like the biggest one, these like the Think Like a Man was a hit and people, there are people who like have a favorite Kevin Hart movie that they could just rattle off. I don't think that's not true for him. And he also is more concerned about his own stand-up. So he's not going, you know what I want to do? Like what Eddie Murphy did with Coming to America. He's not going, you know what'll be a great movie that I really want to make? I want to play a bunch of characters and I want to do this and I want to do. He's not. I don't think that's what he's thinking.
But also,
I think he's more. He personally is more concerned about like, man, I'm about to write this next special though.
To say that he doesn't want his movies to be good, that doesn't make any sense to me.
But my thing is, how are we saying? This is the tough part. Is that how are we saying that? Like, I think, and this is to play devil's advocate, I think they may be trying. We just don't like the outcome of them. I think they may be like. I think. For instance, this movie was an attempt. I think The Wedding Ringer was an attempt. I think Get Hard was an attempt. I think his movie with The Rock is an attempt.
I agree with you, right? But this is where this is now we can get back to the conversation we were having before this podcast even started, which is quote unquote stereotypical black films or FUBU films. Because my thing is, you keep saying they're hits. The real fact is they're hits majoritively because of the black community. Think Like a Man. You know what I mean? This is the type of thing that people are like, look, Tyler Perry, no white people can go see his movies. His movies still will make millions of dollars. Why? Because black people go to the movies. In fact, it's proven that more people of color go to the movies more often than white people, like on average by percentage wise, right? Like, so of course people are going to go to Kevin Hart's movies. But what I'm saying is like, how come? Why don't, like, how is Kevin Hart, if he even wanted to, that's great. He just wants to do stand-up. Maybe that's always what he wants to do. But if he even wanted to position himself to get to a place where he gets to do, like, dramas, like Steve Carell is doing now, right? Steve Carell is doing, Oscar-nominated films. Why? Because he was positioned from the jump, 40-year-old virgin, boom, right out the gate, he gets a movie that people everywhere think it's like a great comedy. People will put in their top 10 comedies of all time. Yeah. Nobody's putting Ride Along in top 10 comedies of all time.
But the thing is,
somebody might.
No, but what I'm saying, no,
you're
right. But what I'm saying is, I guess I'm talking about
you just
critically.
don't like it though. I think the bottom line, what it comes down to is you just don't like it, which is cool. But I don't think we should take away from him that Kevin Hart has a production company. I've actually worked with Kevin Hart, and the thing is, like, he has a team of black people, black men and black women writing for him, and some of them had a part of these movies. And the thing is, like, I think the thing is, like, they may be trying. We may just not like the outcome of them.
Right.
It's just that simple.
That's like
this has a black director, black production company.
The reason that they're trying. We're like, oh, what's our favorite Kevin Hart movie? And then like we go to 40-Year-Old Virgin. That has something to do with our what our taste is and what we
yes and no, because like you're right in terms of somebody can just like Ride Along, but I'm talking about critically, and I'm talking about as a film, as like a analysis of script and story and direction and like the technical aspects of things, and like, you know what I mean, like using having these like we talked about scenes where like there's character inconsistencies, there's things that don't really make sense, there's, you know what I mean, like there's a anyway, I'm not trying to say there yet. I'm not crapping on Kevin Hart at all. I'm not. Kevin Hart. That's what I keep saying. He works hard. He's great. But what I'm saying is, like, I'm wondering why the industry is still like, now he's breaking out of the mode. I think you're right. Get Hard was supposed to be that kind of film. Was like, or even The Wedding Ringer. The Wedding Ringer, to me, actually, the premise of it was super funny. Yeah. But think about it. Like, think about those movies. Both of them, Wedding Ringer and Get Hard, have a white comic who's up and coming or just as hot. Like Josh Gad is Hollywood freaking loves him. Like he's being put in movies all the time. And Will Ferrell's Will Ferrell. You know what I mean? Like, and I know comedies are usually those kind of things, by the way. They're usually collaborations where you have a bunch of stars. But like Kevin Hart's crew that he has to roll with, you know what I mean? Like, it's just because like so many people, black comedians too, like the people of color, they're not put in these type of movies that you have somebody like Kevin Hart that has to do a bunch of scary movies to work up the credits. You know what I mean? You have to have or the black version of a film that was already made, right? Death at a Funeral was a British film, and then they literally made a black version of that film. You know what I mean? Like,
I mean, I'm very interested in this conversation because I don't know what.
I don't know either. I don't have answers. I'm just poking. I'm putting questions out there.
But I think about. You know,
I think it's something that we have to.
I think about Eddie Murphy, right?
Not in this episode. I think
about Eddie Murphy and the platform that he had. Right now, his talent is undeniable. Same with Kevin Hart's. Right. Nobody here is saying like that Kevin Hart isn't.
Agreed.
Right? But for Eddie Murphy specifically, like, he had killer stand-up, and then he had this killer venue with SNL, and then just teams. He met he developed a team there on SNL, right? That then he left and started
Right.
making movies with, right?
And that was SNL without Lorne Michaels.
That was SNL without Lorne Michaels.
I just bring that up because Kevin Hart did audition for SNL for Lorne Michaels and didn't get on. So did JB Smoove. Anyway, continue.
But but that's a different group
SNL
of
shade.
people. But then but for
Just bringing up facts.
for Kevin Hart as somebody who started from the ground up. I mean, and not to say that Eddie Murphy didn't start from the ground up because he also,
but Eddie Murphy was famous at 18 years old.
Yeah, he skyrocketed.
He skyrocketed.
But with Kevin Hart, he worked for years and years and years, and then now has a team of people around him that it's like they are building this. They built this empire from scratch. They did.
They did. I agree.
Built it from scratch.
I agree.
And so it's like because of that, it's like I
Tyler
think
Perry,
it just
same thing.
is
To me,
taking time.
they just didn't write. To me,
Tyler
the
Perry,
difference-
same thing.
Yeah, but to me, the difference is Eddie Murphy's team wrote movies that people like so far right now.
But also,
Kevin
he
Hart
was working with.
the thing is, my thing is Kevin Hart to me is doing everything right. Right? It's just that
I
it's
agree.
It's just that the movie they just haven't written the movie for him
Well,
yet.
can I just say this though? I just want to be very clear.
Oh no, you've been shitting on this movie. So don't be
I'm
trying-
crapping on this. Whoa! I am crapping on this movie. I don't know who wrote this movie. I don't think it was written well. I don't think Tim Story directed it well. But I'm not a fan of Tim Story no matter what. Yeah, no, I don't like Fantastic Four is one of the that has nothing to do with black people. And that movie's awful. Anyway, and Fantastic Four 2 is even worse. Anyway,
that is true.
Listen.
That is true. No,
and
he's
it's okay. It's okay because a white person directed another Fantastic Four movie, and that movie was also terrible. So again,
true.
I'm just
what's
talking
up
about
with Fantastic Four?
Yeah, who knows?
Real quick. What's up?
Nobody can do it.
Blank Check? The Griffin Newman has the podcast. They actually talk about it on an episode. You guys listen to that. But what I am criticizing isn't Kevin Hart and his team. I'm talking about the industry as a whole. Here's the difference to me between Eddie Murphy and Kevin Hart. Eddie Murphy had a bunch of white people working for him. Yeah. In the scripts, in the direction, he was put in films like he got prompted up with Nick Nolte, right, in 48 Hours, or was it Nick Nolte?
It was 48 Hours.
And then when he did Trading Places, it's Dan Aykroyd, right? Like, who was big then? Like, again, Eddie Murphy outshone them all, but he was also given much bigger platforms. Whereas Kevin Hart, I feel like Kevin Hart has to work. He has to work 3 times and 3 times. Eddie Murphy's a phenomenon. We talk about that. I'm talking about black people in general, let's just say.
But
have to work
hard,
3 times as hard to get to the place where they can just be doing an average movie.
This is my thing. It's tricky because you kind of what I was talking about is Eddie Murphy's team was white, right? But Kevin Hart's is black. And right now we're saying Eddie Murphy had these legendary movies, these great movies. Kevin Hart, who's made a bunch of movies where basically the criticism is how come he doesn't have it was 3 writers on this one.
And we know
4,
they're black?
right? No, it was 4.
It was 4.
Jason Mantzoukas is one of them.
But the thing that's interesting to me is that
Jason Mantzoukas. White people wrote this.
If he'd had,
I just want to. We're trying to act like black people wrote this film. White people wrote it.
No, I don't think we were.
all 4 writers aren't white, are they?
Unless you, because these people don't have pictures. Phil Hay and Matt Manfredi, but those names don't sound black to me.
Same with Get Hard as well. I mean, it's not. I don't think it's about white or black as far as.
Well, I had to bring because Jerah was talking about.
No,
that.
yeah,
No, I'm saying, but the thing is, I like those. I feel like we keep saying the argument is
I'm not talking.
where is his right? Where is his best movie? Right.
What I'm talking about is the industry giving him writers who are super strong. But people who made Trading Places also wrote Animal House, I think, right?
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about. You have people who the industry gives you. They put together. You have to understand what
we don't know what these writers have done.
Yeah,
we don't know.
we do. We can.
I mean, we can look it up, but right now we're making this blanket statement.
All right, I'll tell you. Greg Coogler. He wrote
writers.
Employee of the Month, Sorority Boys, The Troop. Employee of the Month. Guess who's in that movie?
Dane Cook.
Exactly, mothercracker.
No, but what I'm saying, wait,
like that's
what?
the point. Like you just
that's
dropped
not even
the mic.
That's not even a thing. That's literally not. You just got loud. That's not the thing.
I would say this too though. But Get Hard, the writers on Get Hard, they're good writers on Get Hard as well. But so I don't know. People people didn't love, one of the negative criticisms of Get Hard, right, is that it feels like a sketch that's too long, right?
I can tell you a problem I had with this movie.
What?
At no point, because I think Ice Cube is a co-lead, at no point did Ice Cube get a hug or a kiss from a white lady.
All right, we're going to the swirl.
I'm just saying.
Time
You
for the
had this
swirl.
movie, right? You had this movie. You got the beautiful Tika Sumpter, right? So you got a co-lead, right? You got Kevin Hart has his fiance. What Ice Cube get? Ice Cube went to a strip club. No stripper even gave him a high five. He couldn't go to the strip club and get a high five, and he saved the day. You know what should have happened? He should have went in there. He should have he saved the strip club, right? He saved everybody, and he was treating people like people. He didn't treat the women like strippers. He was like, no, I got you here to help and save these degenerates.
Did he even look at the stripper?
Because he didn't look at them as objects. He respected them as people. And you know what? They picked up on it. So when he's out there talking to his captain, like, yeah, man, things are crazy. Like, I didn't mean to give him a gun. Two strippers came up. Two strippers come up. One's a blonde stripper, all right? And one's an Indian stripper. Because you never see Indian strippers, right?
I've never seen an Indian stripper.
I mean, have we ever had a movie where there was an Indian female?
We've never reviewed a movie with an Indian stripper.
I'm not agreeing to this.
No, I'm saying, but has there a movie been a movie with a female?
I mean, I'm just
Indian
saying,
female in it?
I don't think I've ever seen an Indian stripper.
Well, this is my thing. They would have came up to him. And they would have stopped him in front of his captain and be like, "Excuse me, thank you. You saved our lives. We appreciate you. Now we love black men." And they would have gave him a kiss on each cheek. One on one cheek, one on the other cheek. And they
If
said,
that
"Thank
actually
you."
happened, wouldn't you have complained that there still wasn't a sweat? Wouldn't you have complained, why did they kiss him on the cheek and not flat on the
No,
mouth?
it's the fact I'm begging for a touch now, John. That's how desperate we
But
getting.
Beverly
picking
Hills
black
Cop,
men.
he had a hug.
That
you were
in
mad
the
about
80s.
it.
That was in the 80s.
Is this swirl
I have
about
regrets.
Right, the 80s.
No. What I'm saying is, the thing is, like you said, I've been so taken back, so starved that now I'm fighting just to get a black man touched.
He's just trying to get
Okay,
some piss.
All right, that's all I'm trying to get. I am just trying to. I'm not even. You realize I'm not even fighting to get like a sex scene anymore. Has anyone peeped that out in the last couple episodes? No, I'm just trying to get this man a little hug or a kiss on the damn cheek.
So thirsty.
You know what I'm saying? Can the man feel like a human after he saves the day?
I mean, can the man feel like
Can he feel like a man?
All right.
Ladies-
I feel like we're
Ladies is black
I
history.
feel like we're dipping back into sexist territory.
No, what I'm saying is like they didn't do anything crazy. It's like, yo, thank you for saving my life. Kiss on the cheek. We love black men. You guys aren't threatening.
love black men.
Great job. Great job.
All right, great. All right.
That's all I wanted to
Yeah,
say.
that's good. Swirl is over.
Hey man, don't do that. The swirl. Whatever.
James, what are you looking up?
I'm just looking at my favorite Kevin Hart movie is top 5. By the way,
Oh, okay.
Oh, that's a good one.
he's great in that.
What is he doing?
He's
the
the lawyer.
agent.
He's the agent. Yes, sorry.
Oh, he's funny. He's very funny as the agent. Top 5 was good. I wanted it to be better. We'll review that.
I really liked it.
We'll
should
review
do that. Is
Yeah.
this an indie though?
Because we haven't talked about Chris Rock. Anyway. So you done, James?
Yeah, I'm done. I don't have anything else.
Really? Nothing.
Yeah, no, for real.
Okay, great.
All right, cool, man.
Awesome.
Are you serious?
But wait, is After Earth good? Because wait,
I actually thought you weren't going to talk
I
about
did
it.
No,
too.
because-
I thought you had nothing.
because think about this though, right?
We're kind of going long, James.
Yeah.
Some guy get cut. Oh, go ahead.
Fine.
No, go ahead. I'm looking at it. Go ahead.
Yeah, what are you even going to say about it?
Fine.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Hey, John,
Anyway,
set up that
so
call.
It's time for the cause. Guys, we rate and review films. If you're a new listener, we never welcome ourselves at the beginning.
No,
anyway,
we got to start that.
the cause is what's the cause? I'm snapping like Kevin Hart.
Hold up. Let's go.
Hold up.
What?
Wait. Boom, boom. The hammer. Okay. That was pretty funny. Guys, we are fighting for the cause of more leading black actors in Hollywood, in major motion pictures, okay? So we don't rate films based on how well we like them. We rate them based on how well they helped the cause. We either give it a black fist, which means it helped fully, a white palm, which means it's so-so, or nothing, which means it didn't help at all. Somebody on Twitter or Facebook was like, the white palm reminds them of Hitler. I was like,
Oh,
damn.
no. We don't have it up in a...
I don't know.
What?
I know. It was so crazy. Anyway, I should probably not repeat Twitter comments. Anyway, so black fist, white palm, or nothing.
Hey, man, I need a second to think.
Guys, you got 3 seconds to think, okay?
Hold on. Let me know when you're going to start counting. Hold on. Let me know when you're going to start counting.
Okay.
Oh, no, man. You distracted me with that. I got to think.
All right, here we go.
Hold on. Wait. When you said 3 seconds.
3, 2, 1. Ba-ba. This is hilarious.
What is
This is so
happening?
typical black men catch up.
I'm not looking.
Fashion.
I need a second.
No. That's what you gave it. No. We're not. I'm not accepting it. I'm not accepting it.
I was thinking.
I'm not accepting
I was
it.
thinking.
Hold up.
I was
this
still
is
thinking.
what just happened, in case anybody's
thinking.
wondering.
Yeah.
At the
was
count
thinking.
of 3, JB and I put up a black fist.
No, my eyes.
And Jerah
Milligan
put up nothing.
No. My eyes were closed. I was thinking.
Nah, Jerah put up nothing.
No, I was thinking
And
about what
then-
to do.
Like 30 seconds later, he
I was
put up
thinking. Cause I said I was thinking. I didn't look at what you guys did. I was like, yeah, I need a second to think. I need to think.
Start then.
All right. So
No,
you start.
no. Listen,
You
this-
start.
No,
You
you
start with your
start.
No,
fist.
I would do it. It was difficult because the thing is, like, in my mind, is like this movie should have had a black fist because it made a bunch of money. Like, Kevin Hart was the lead. He played a black dude. It wasn't about his race. That happened. But, you know, it honestly, the point that kind of swayed me a little bit was Jonathan bringing up the police brutality. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I was
that's
like,
fair.
I was like, because the thing is, that was something I didn't think about ahead of time. I was like, that's kind of tough. Then it was like, also like, this is great for black men, but did it do anything for Tika Sumter? You know, like, it's kind of tricky.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Well, it's like, no, I'm talking about like not her like outside the movie, but like her character, like with the black female lead. Did it like,
Yeah.
how did it
didn't
present
give
her?
It didn't really give her a juicy enough thing for people to watch it because what's her name in Neighbors? Who's great? She's
Rose Byrne has one of the
Rose
best
Byrne.
female written characters in
right.
comedy.
So
period.
it's like people can watch that and be like, oh my god, this person should be in more things, or even Emma Watson.
No,
Emma Stone
Emma Stone.
in the Superbad.
Yeah.
She had a part that like
You
I think
saw
people
her.
could seem like, oh, that person's funny. Let's put her in more stuff. This I don't think they gave her enough to for somebody to look at and be like, let's make a movie around her.
Yeah, and to me, that was the difficult part in my head. Is like, I think everything else when it comes to black men, this movie did help. But when it's like, you know, we're thinking about the Oscars and everything else, and it's like there were black women who got to lead a movie, you know, really last year, studio picture last year, 2015. Any woman of color, really. So when I think about this movie, it's kind of tough just to like be on board. But I gave it a fist in the end because they made enough money to have a chance to do more things. Like this movie helped, you know, Will Packer do About Last Night. This helped Will Packer get his contract, you know, with NBC or whatever network it is. This helped Kevin Hart get, of course, a sequel to this.
Yeah.
Helped him get, was The Wedding Ringer. Helped him get all these other roles. So I think I gave it a fist because I think it helped. Could it have been better? Yes, but I think overall it helped out.
All right, James.
Yeah, I mean, you know, you can't have a movie with a predominantly black cast, a black director, and not give that movie a fist. I mean, like,
Yeah, you can.
This movie made. No, hold up, nah, man.
We did. We did it before. I didn't give it a fist for Barbershop. Continue.
Oh, what did I give Barbershop?
I don't know. I think it got a fist and a white palm. Nothing.
All right. Well, then, today, on this day of recording, that's how I feel. You know, like like I said, I didn't love this movie, but I think that Kevin Hart is very funny in it. I love seeing Ice Cube in movies. I thought Tika Sumter did a great job, and I just delight in that, and in the fact that this is a movie that put black people on screen, and they went on to do other things also on screen. So that's why I gave it a fist.
Here's why I gave it a fist. That's right. I gave it a fist.
I knew you would, though.
You knew I would.
I knew you would.
But here's why. Because I don't care if this movie is not good, which it's not.
Okay. You would not let that go.
Damn.
I mean, Lawrence Fishburne's. I mean, goodness, we talk about John
you were
Leguizamo
praising. You were saying
Lawrence
good things.
Fishburne. Oh,
You were
they're
saying
so
good things.
underutilized.
You were saying good things. Why'd you
Oh, it's
fist
such a
the fist?
It's a tragedy. Anyway, Lawrence Fishburne is
The fist.
amazing. He should have
Focus
gotten
on
an Oscar for The Matrix. Anyway, Didn't even get nominated for that joint.
Interesting.
Should have got an Oscar.
100%.
Interesting.
He should have gotten nominated at least. Anyway,
the movie.
All right, listen.
For the Matrix.
Yeah,
James.
absolutely. Rewatch that movie. Shut up, dude who likes Jurassic World.
Oh,
listen.
We don't have enough time on
The
this
reason that I give this a movie a fist, and the reason that I think it's different than Barbershop is because I'm not dropping my FUBU stuff, but I don't think this wasn't a For Us By Us movie. And I have no problem with FUBU films. That's fine. The whole point of what we were talking about is like we shouldn't be regulated to just movies that cater to a black audience. Kevin Hart, that's what Kevin Hart's talking about when he talking about in those tweets. He's like, I'm trying to drop that period. It should just be movies. We should stop having movies that are targeted just towards black people. I'm just making movies. And I think, and here's the thing is that, and I'm sure when Kevin Hart was coming up in comedy ranks, he was doing mostly black clubs. I mean, maybe not, but I bet you he was, and also started doing other clubs as well. But the reason that he had to do that isn't because he wanted to only perform for black people. It's because like that's how people of color have to get ahead sometimes. You know what I mean? Like there aren't white people looking out for them, which is what I was trying to bring up. So black people have to look out for each other. Indian people have to look out for each other. Asians have to look out for each other. That's what happens.
All the people color on my back. I'm carrying
That's what
everybody.
we have to do. But now we're getting to a point in time. It's 2016. We got to stop doing that. The industry as a whole needs to just drop this stuff right along. To me, was that type of movie. It was average, just like a bunch of movies are. But it had black leads, had a black director, and it made a lot of money because like movies with black leads can make lots of money. And it doesn't have to be catered to a black audience, which I don't think it was. Also, Kevin Hart is still blowing up. And I really hope we get a Kevin Hart film that is like, I want so badly, so desperately for there to be a Kevin Hart movie that is in line with, like, because all of my favorite, not stand-ups, but all my favorite comedic actors, and I think Kevin Hart is a comedic actor. There's a difference. He's not a Louis C.K. Louis C.K. is great with what he does, but like I don't envision like Louis C.K. like being the star of like a bunch of films. But for Kevin Hart, I think he is obviously, and I think he should be. I want a movie where that's just as good as Ace Ventura, just as good as Anchorman, just as good as a Meet the Parents, just as good as, you know what I mean, like what other white comedians are there?
Zoolander.
Zoolander or you know, like, anyway, so you have a bunch of like these you know, white comedians who have or what's with Mike Myers, you know, Austin Powers, you know what I mean? I think I would love a Kevin Hart movie that's like that is just like universally recognized by critics and audiences alike. This is a great movie. You know what I mean?
Coming. He got it in him, man.
I know he can do it. I want the industry to help him do it. Yeah. I don't want Kevin Hart to keep having to do this by himself. I don't think it's fair. I think he's such a super talent. People should be lining up to make, let's make a fantastic movie that goes crazy.
See, the thing that's tough about that is I feel like if you're a person of color or a woman, you've probably been told you have to work 10 times harder than everybody else, right? I feel like your person of color is like you're starting at zero. So my thing is, I feel like it would be great if someone did help him, but I feel like he should never expect anyone to.
No, I don't think he. Well, I'm not telling him to expect it. That's why I'm talking to Hollywood.
But this is so hard, though, too. It's so hard because he is working, like, and he.
I think it's going to come eventually.
Offers and things are being developed, and
right?
Things are like it's like sure these movies aren't Ace Ventura to us, but I still think that there are people out there who are like fucking like right.
Yes,
like,
there are people like that for the worst films ever, James. That's not an argument. There is people out there who legitimately, unironically like the movie Room, which is considered the worst movie of all time. Like, yes, of course, there's an audience that people like it. But I'm talking about the general consensus.
He wants universal praise.
Yes.
Yeah, he wants universal.
Come on.
But also, can I make a note that this movie made enough money that the sequel has both Olivia Munn and Tika something.
Which is great.
And they have Ken.
Yeah, we didn't talk about the fact that the sequel isn't doing as well as the first one.
Let's end on the positive.
All right.
But
Kevin Hart's great.
Over $100 million.
Oh, did it? Mm-hmm. Oh, sweet.
It costs more money to make though.
40.
Oh, still pretty good. positive note still. Booyah!
Cool. That's it.
See y'all later.
Let's do some plugs. All right, it's time for plugs. Jonathan Braylock here in the studio by himself. So I'm going to do my plugs first. You can go, first of all, actually, no, I'll do Black Men Can't Jump first. Go listen, follow us on Twitter at Black Men Podcast, on Twitter at Black Men Podcast, on Instagram. You can go to our website, blackmenpodcast.squarespace.com, to see our events and stuff. Also, like, please rate and review us on iTunes. Leave us that 5 stars. And let us know where you're from. You know what I mean? We like to hear it. We also have a Facebook fan page, you know? Talk to us on that. We like conversations. Okay. JohnBraylock.com, at John Braylock on Twitter and Instagram. You can follow me. Speaking of events, we have South by Southwest. Black Men Can't Jump. It's going to be in Austin, Texas for South by Southwest Festival. Friday, March 11th at 3 p.m. is when the whole show starts. Tickets are $20. You can get them right now online. So please go purchase tickets ahead of time. Be smart. Buy them now. We have a couple of shows in New York. If you live in the New York City area, me, James, and Jerah are going to be in this thing called I'm Too Cool showcase at the UCB Theater on Monday the 7th at 8 p.m. That's at UCB Chelsea. Then we have a show called Astronomy Club, Journey Through Black History on Monday, March 14th. That's also at 8 p.m. You can buy tickets there at ucbtheater.com. Jerah is not on Twitter anymore, but he really is. He's just not promoting it, so find him. Just find him. James, it's James Third Comedy. That's 3RD. He doesn't spell it out. He uses the number 3 and then RD, I think. Actually, I don't even know if this is right anymore. It's confusing. It's not. It's James Third Comedy, at James Third Comedy on Twitter and his website. And, hey guys, do you like Broad City? Because I'm going to be in an episode of Broad City this Wednesday. Don't blink. Actually, no. I have like 3 lines, but you will very clearly see me with some crazy hair, but it's fun. So watch Broad City this Wednesday. And what else do we got? I think that's about it. Please listen next week because we are doing our first ever Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson film, The Rundown. We skipped The Scorpion King because, come on, we had to. We're doing The Rundown starring The Rock and Christopher Walken and Rosario Dawson and Sean William Scott. So listen next week. And that's all for the plugs. We'll see you next week. Come to South by Southwest. Bye.
That was a HeadGum podcast.